It's the moment you all been waiting for. Today I'm going to talk about all the rides at Disneyland. What is considered a ride? Anything under the Attractions tab of the Disneyland app with the Disneyland filter on. The list is sorted A to Z but ignoring the word "the" for some reasons. Credit to SoCal Disney Dad because this is his ballpark and I'm more of the historical SeaWorld guy. This isn't a ride but it's listed. Play Disney Parks is a separate app from the Disneyland app that has features that interact with Disneyland kind of like a magic band. It works with Esmeralda and Fortune Red where you get one freebie per day. There's a scavenger hunt in the Cave of Indiana Jones's Adventure. A game in front of Rise of the Resistance and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, as well as a game in Galaxy's Edge as well. There's also a game in the Cave of Peter Pan's Flight and Space Mountain. Still not a ride but getting closer. Adventureland Treehouse opened in 2023 and replaced the Tarzan Treehouse. The upgrade is mostly an improvement. I really like Jane, little silly stuff like that make this ride better. Finally, an actual ride. Alice in Wonderland opened in 1958, got completely remodeled in 1984, and in 2014 added screens to some scenes just to elevate the scenery more. Out of all the Fantasyland dark rides, this and Peter Pan's Flight are the best. This ride has a short detour first. The Astro Jets opened in 1956 between where Nemo's Submarine Voyage and Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters are today. In 1967 the ride was renamed to the Rocket Jets and placed on the People Mover platform. In 1998 Astro Orbiter opened where it currently is today. Honestly, I've been on the Magic Kingdom version and I can confirm, the ride would be so much better if it was still on the People Mover platform. This ride has a long history. The current Autopia opened in 2000, however there is more to it than that. Tomorrowland Autopia opened in 1955 and shorter than the current version. Junior Autopia opened in 1956, 1 year later. In 1957 Midget Autopia opened. It was the smallest track and was located where It's a Small World is today. In 1958 Junior Autopia closed to turn into Fantasyland Autopia, which was the same layout as Tomorrowland Autopia. In 1966 Midget Autopia closed to be replaced by It's a Small World like I mentioned. In 1991 Fantasyland Autopia turned into To the Rescue Rangers Raceway, which just changed the theme, and was reverted the next year. In 2000 the Tomorrowland and Fantasyland Autopia were combined into the current Autopia and is the same to this day. In 2026 Disney says the ride will be completely electric, which I'm excited for because the only complaint I have about the current Autopia is the smell. Roller coaster alert. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad opened in 1979 and replaced Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland. In 2011 the rocks on the third lift hill of the Big Thunder Mountain in Paris had a piece of fiberglass fall off and injured 5 people, so the Disneyland rocks were turned into the TNT effect. And in 2014 added projection mapping to some scenes. This is a great ride and was my first roller coaster. Since then I've done an extra 25 roller coasters, adding to a grand 26. Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters opened in 2005 and replaced the Rocket Rods building. This ride is one of the most dedicated fan bases about getting a high score. I will make a video on all the high scores on the property, which also means how to get a high score at Splitsville Luxury Lanes. This ride has stayed almost completely the same as when it opened 70 years ago. Casey Jr. Circus Train opened in 1955 and is the only ride I've fallen asleep on. The ride is pretty calm, compared to Big Thunder, however it's still pretty fun and gives good views of the Storybook Land Canal. This entry will be short. Centennial Park opened in 2023 and replaced Toon Park. This attraction is just a fake tree to play around, something literally next to this with more to do is Goofy's How to Play Yard. Let's stay in Toontown. Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster opened in 1993 as Gadgets Go Coaster and had the name change in 2023. I find it funny that Gadgets Go Coaster didn't have Gadget, the chipmunk, on the ride until it got the Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster redesign. You've done a lot of walking, but don't forget your arms. Kid Power Tower, wait, wrong theme park. Davy Crockett Explorer canoes opened in 1956 as the Indian War canoes, and in 1971 got changed to the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes, which are completely person-powered. Do not say there is a track for the canoes, you'll be shamed by the head canoe cast member. Also, fun fact. The sailing ship Columbia is at the top of the priorities and doesn't have to stop for any other boat. The Mark Twain is next and just has to stop for the sailing Columbia. The Tom Sawyer rafts are third and have to stop for the Mark Twain and sailing ship Columbia. And the Davy Crockett canoes are at the bottom and have to stop for everything. This ride might close soon. The Disneyland Gallery opened in 1987 over Pirates of the Caribbean. In 2009 the gallery moved to the bank of Main Street, and in 2013 moved to its current location. It might close when Walt Disney A Magical Life opens, however we don't know for sure. Also, Walt Disney A Magical Life opens July 17th, so I'll have to remake my video in exactly 1 month of writing this exact entry. This ride is the only ride you have to show your tickets to go on. Disneyland Monorail opened in 1959 and was a perfect loop. In 1961 the track was extended to what it is now. 36th Vice President Richard Nixon went on the ride with Walt Disney and accidentally went without the Secret Service. Walt Disney is one of the few people to kidnap the Vice President and get away with it. If you're wondering, Nixon found this hilarious. This ride is just wholesome mostly. Disneyland Railroad opened in 1955 and hasn't changed much. There are 4 stops. The Main Street stop starts right above the entrance and goes behind Jungle Cruise, Indiana Jones Adventure and Pirates of the Caribbean. The New Orleans Square station starts in New Orleans Square and goes behind Haunted Mansion, through Splash Mountain and around Frontierland until making a stop at Toontown Station. The Toontown Station starts at Toontown, goes behind the entrance to It's a Small World, and goes around Autopia. The Tomorrowland station starts in Tomorrowland, and goes through these cool dioramas until you get back to the Main Street station. Something cute is there is a VIP caboose that is named the Lily Bell after Lily Disney, Walt Disney's wife. This show will run in conjunction with Walt Disney A Wonderful Life. The Disneyland Story presenting great moments with Mr. Lincoln opened in 1965, closed in 1973. In 1973 the Walt Disney Story opened, which closed in 1975 due to political backlash. In 1975 Abraham Lincoln came back and has been tweaked over the years. Now that the show is being less often, I wonder if there will be more people mad at its departure. Maybe, maybe not. This ride got a lot worse than it was. Donald's Boat opened in 1993 where you could go honk the horn and go down the slide. The ride closed, reopened in 2023, and now the ride is way worse. You can't go in the boat, just play around it now. Dumbo the Flying Elephant opened in 1955 where the Red Rose Tavern is today. In 1983 the ride was moved to where it is today. This ride is iconic, being at all 6 main Disney theme parks to this day. The only other ride with that moniker is Buzz Lightyear rides, however 2 of them closed. This isn't really a ride. Fantasmic opened in 1992 and is a nighttime show in the rivers of America. In 2023 the Maleficent dragon caught on fire and the whole thing was pretty much gone. The show runs without the animatronic as of now, but it could come back. The show times are usually 9:05 and 10:30 p.m. I love this ride. Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage opened in 2007 and replaced the Submarine Voyage. To a lot of people it's claustrophobic, but I don't mind it. If it has a short wait and you want to see fish, do this ride. This entry is labeled once but is really 2 attractions. The first fortune teller, Fortune Red, opened in 1967 and is located by Pirates of the Caribbean. The second fortune teller, Esmeralda, opened in 1998 and is located at the Penny Arcade. There is a third fortune teller, Shrunken Ned, but he was removed in 2017 and hasn't come back since. This is a cool ride that sadly closed at Magic Kingdom. Frontierland Shootin' Exposition opened in 1955 and has changed a bit from when it opened. The original ride had you shoot real lead pellets, but now you shoot inferred beams. It cost 50 cents to play, but occasionally you can play it for free early in the morning. I think unlike the ride next to this ride has improved. Goofy's Play Yard opened in 1993 and had a bouncy floor. The floor got removed, and in 2023 the whole area got renovated. Now there are slides outside with a mesmerizing contraption inside the house. There's more to do, unlike Donald's boat next door. This ride is super iconic. Haunted Mansion opened in 1969 and has barely changed since. The Beating Heart Bride has changed quite a bit, going through a lot of designs, and the Hatbox Ghost is cool, but besides that there isn't much difference to the original. Another small change is now Madame Leota floats when she was just on the table. Overall, this is one of the best dark rides at Disneyland. This ride has also barely changed. Indiana Jones's Adventure opened in 1995, and the only big change is replacing the Rat Cave with the collapsing tunnel. The other changes were very minor, like the ice machine that was in the ceiling. I went on this ride when I was about 5 and that scared me for life. I haven't been on it since, but that's because it's been a while since I've been to Disneyland or DCA. It's a world of laughter, it's a world of tears, that's the first line of the famous theme song of this ride. It's a Small World opened 1966 and replaced Midget Autopia. This ride hasn't changed much. The song will add a new verse, and since 2008 they've been adding Disney characters around the ride, the newest being Miguel and Dante on May 16, 2025. This ride is kind of a fever dream if you're sleep deprived, so ride this at your own risk. This ride is also iconic. Jungle Cruise opened in 1955 and has barely changed, and I mean it strongly. Pretty much all that changed is removing the Indian tribes due to recent backlash and added the trapped safari goers. Overall, it's a good ride. This ride is the oldest ride at Disneyland, kinda. King Arthur Carousel opened in 1955 at Disneyland, but before this was built in 1922. This ride is your average carousel, nothing special. The only major change was just a paint job and added benches for people in wheelchairs, and in 2008 adding Jingle the Horse for Julie Andrews, the actor who is famous for playing Mary Poppins. Wow, another famous ride. Mad Tea Party opened in 1955 where Dumbo is today and got moved to its current location in 1983. In 2004 they made the teacups harder to spin fast. Yes, the current version is slower than the original. I don't know why I like this ride so much. Main Street Cinema opened in 1955 and it's just a building with screens. I don't know why I like it so much, it's just an air-conditioned room playing usually Mickey Mouse shorts. If you thought grouping 2 fortune tellers was a lot, this section is 4 vehicles. Main Street Vehicles opened in 1955 and has 4 different vehicles that go around Main Street, which is why there are those lines in the road. There is the horse-drawn streetcar, fire engine, jitney, and omnibus. The best of these is probably the omnibus because it's tall and almost never has a wait. These have almost never changed in their almost 70 years of operation. This ride is good but got rid of something about as good. The Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh opened in 2003 and replaced the Country Bear Jamboree. Right after the Heffalumps and Woozles scene, look behind you and you'll see the heads of Buck, Max, and Melvin looking back at you. However, these aren't the animatronics. Instead, these are the fakes used in the Country Bear Mile Long Bar. Also, the Magic Kingdom version of the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh got even more backlash for replacing Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. This ride I kind of mentioned earlier. Mark Twain Riverboat opened in 1955 and hasn't really changed since, just replacements and paint jobs. Like I said earlier, the only thing the Mark Twain needs to wait for the sailing ship Columbia, the other things wait for the Mark Twain. If you're wondering, yes, the Mark Twain goes on a track. It's not much of a secret, especially when the river is drained. This ride is legendary, but I've never been on it sadly. Matterhorn bobsleds opened in 1959 and have changed quite a bit from when it first opened. In 1978 the caves were made smaller as before the mountain was nearly completely hollow. The star on top of the Matterhorn wouldn't go up for Christmas time. In 1994 the skyway closed and so did the holes in the Matterhorn. In 2012 the trains were redone. And in 2015 the inside redid Herald to be more realistic as well as adding new features like the ice wall and the lift hill and the extra heralds. Overall good ride, 2 different tracks, and I really want to go on these. This ride is very new. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opened in 2023 and a good dark ride. There isn't much difference between this and the Hollywood Studios version. I haven't done the Disneyland version, but I have done the Hollywood Studios version. The difference between the two versions is some of the layout is slightly mixed up but little to no major differences. Overall this ride is quite unpredictable and fun, so ride it if the wait is short. This ride is very unassuming. Mickey's House and Meet Mickey, that's the full name, opened in 1993 and hasn't changed apart from what is shown in the movie theater. From the front of the building you'd think the ride is no bigger than Minnie's house, but you'd be very wrong. While you do go in the small house you see from the outside, Mickey's house is included inside the Toontown Mountain. That's what the big set of doors by his house loop to. It's very well themed and is air conditioned, so do this on a hot day. Again, I've done this ride, but only at Hollywood Studios and not Disneyland. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run opened in 2019 and hasn't changed but will change next year. In August of last year it was announced that the ride will be updated to be more of a choose-your-own-adventure ride where you can choose to go to a lot of planets depending on where you want to go. Until then the ride is quite simple. The pilots try not to crash, the gunners try to shoot the TIE fighters, and the engineers try to fix what the pilots break. When I went I was the co-pilot and it was a lot of fun. Minnie's House opened in 1993 and hasn't changed apart from repairs and repaints. This is much smaller than Mickey's House and is more of a line to Meet Minnie. This ride is really fun and has a weird feature. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride opened in 1955, was renovated like the rest of the Fantasyland dark rides in 1983. And the only change since then was the fireplace smoke getting replaced by a plywood flat and added Mr. Toad's characters like Mr. Badger. This is the only ride on Disneyland property where you go to hell, which didn't happen in the movie. I don't know why that choice was made while developing the ride, however it's still here to this day. This is the other great Fantasyland ride. Peter Pan's Flight opened in 1955 and since then has gotten completely redone in the 1983 Fantasyland remodel and in 2015 to redo special effects. How do each dark ride stand out? Alice goes to a second story outdoors, Mr. Toad's is fast and rough, and Peter Pan's Flight has the track above you. This is the only ride I've ever done where the track is above you, which is why it gets long wait times. Another Fantasyland dark rides. Pinocchio's Daring Journey opened in 1983 and replaced the Mickey Mouse Club Theater. The ride hasn't changed at all, there is no catch. How does this ride stand out? It doesn't, it is too similar to its neighbor Snow White's Enchanted Wish and neither have anything special about the actual ride type, just a dark ride. Tom Sawyer Island opened in 1956 and didn't change until 1992 to make way for Fantasmic. That change was small. The next change happened in 2001 when the mock fireflies were removed after a 6-year-old lost part of her finger after playing with one. In 2007 the whole island was remodeled to be Pirate's Lair on Tom Sawyer Island, which has a lot to do. It's kind of the Disneyland version of Redwood Creek Challenge Trail at California Adventure. Pirates of the Caribbean opened in 1967 and is very much better than the version at Disney World. Something cool I learned is that service dogs can technically go on this ride. In 1997, the scene where pirates were chasing women was changed to pirates chasing women who were stealing bread. The pooped pirates was now the gluttonous pirate, and the woman hiding in the barrels was now the cat stuck in the barrels. In 2006, the ride added 3 Jack Sparrow animatronics, replaced the ship captain with Captain Barbossa, and gave the gluttonous pirate a map to find treasure. In 2011, Captain Blackbeard was projected in the waterfall. In 2017, the action scene went from selling women to selling stolen goods. In 2018, the Captain Blackbeard projection was removed and also added a skeleton that turns into a pirate. This ride is really fun and you should go on it if it's open. This ride is basically a dark ride where the ride vehicle is a teacup. Roger's Rabbit's Cartoon Spin opened in 1994 and only changed in 2021, where the ride got an update where Jessica Rabbit got a bigger role as a detective as well. Sometime the Weasel's buckets would move as they poured but are now static. This ride is kind of a Frankenstein of other rides. It has the spinning of the Mad Tea Party, with the track of Pinocchio's Daring Journey. I've never done this ride, but it's at the top of my list when I go back. This ride is the final ride of the Rivers of America. Sailing ship Columbia opened in 1958, and the only change happened in 1964 when they added the crew quarters exhibit. This ride doesn't have to stop for anything in the river, the boats stop for this. It's just the Mark Twain but bigger, it's on the same track. This ride is hidden. Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough opened in 1957 and changed throughout the years. The first change happened in 1977 when the dioramas changed from how they originally looked to how the Main Street window displays look. In 2008, when the ride reopened like the original but with enhanced effects. It's a short ride that you can do if you want to go through the castle. The Final Fantasyland Dark Ride. Snow White's Enchanted Wish opened in 1955 as Snow White and Her Adventures. In the 1983 Fantasyland remodel, this ride was renamed to Snow White's Scary Adventures. In 2021, the ride was redone once more to Snow White's Enchanted Wish, which added the projection mapping like some of the other Fantasyland Dark rides. So far, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and Snow White's Enchanted Wish have the projection mapping, leaving Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and Pinocchio's Daring Journey left to get the facelift. How does Snow White Enchanted Wish stand out? It doesn't. It's very similar to Pinocchio's Daring Journey, and it doesn't help that they are neighbors. I've only ever done the Snow White Scary Adventures, however from what I heard the newer version is superior. This ride is the final roller coaster. Space Mountain opened in 1977. In 1996, the ride was given on-ride audio. In 2005, the ride reopened after an extensive refurbishment which consisted of a complete retrack caused by the trains of the coaster after adding the on-ride audio stressing out the track. And also in 2005, the exterior was painted the iconic white. In 2023, the ride was given a couple of extra projections on the ride. I went on this when I was like 7 and was completely scared. I haven't been on it since, but I really want to. Star Tours opened in 1987 and closed in 2010 to get replaced by Thus Entry. Star Tours The Adventure Continues opened in 2011 and has had minor changes over the years. In 2015, the ride added the planet Jakku from The Force Awakens. In 2017, the ride added Crate from The Last Jedi and Batuu from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And in 2019, the ride added Kefbur and Exegol from The Rise of Skywalker. In 2024, the ride added new scenes from Ahsoka, Andor, and The Mandalorian. This ride is a lot of fun and is a bit better than Soarin' because you actually move around. Another Star Wars ride kind of. Star Wars Datapad on Play Disney Park mobile app, that's the name, opened in 2019 and is another Play Disney Parks game. This video has come full circle. It's basically a scavenger hunt around Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and it's just something to do. I assume the reason it's not included with the Play Disney Parks section of the Disneyland app is for exposure. It is also one of few things to use your Magic Band at Disneyland. Third Star Wars ride in a row. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance opened in 2020 and hasn't changed at all. The only difference is Virtual K being gone, but that's it. Again, I've never done this ride but instead the identical Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios. This ride is really fun and it's never too thrilling. There is a drop, however it's pretty slow. Boat. Storybook Land Canal Boats opened in 1955 as Canal Boats of the World, which has you go by miniature building. In 1956 the ride was rethemed under Storybook Land Canal Boats. The miniatures were Geppetto's Village from Pinocchio, the houses from The Three Little Pigs, Kingston Gardens from Peter Pan, Alice's Cottage from Alice in Wonderland, the Old Mill from Silky Symphony, Toad Hall from The Adventure of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, the Diamond Mines from Snow White and Cinderella Castle. In 1994 Toad Hall moved somewhere else, and where Toad Hall formerly was they added Sultan's Palace from Aladdin. In 2014 the Old Mill got replaced by the village of Arendelle from Frozen. It's a slow ride, however it's still fun. This ride is very new, opening in November of 2024. Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened in, I told you, 2024 and hasn't changed. This ride was Splash Mountain and I prefer Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain had stakes. You were scared that the fox would kill the rabbit. Now the big drop is you growing? Children do that, it's not special. This is the birthplace of the animatronics. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room opened in 1963 and has had minor changes throughout. In 2001 the Barker bird was removed. In 2005 the whole show got refreshed with rebuilt animations but looked the same visually. In the 2010s the ride got some slight project mapping touches, and in 2025 Disney rebuilt the Tangaroa tree outside the queue. This is a good show to do if you have downtime. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's the new longest video on my channel. I hope it's not too long. I will try to keep the outro short. See you soon with California Adventure.